Haley, who served in the South Carolina House of Representatives for 3 terms, made history in 2011 as the first female governor in the state's history. Following her tenure as governor, she joined the Trump administration as the 29th U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. During her time in this role, she skillfully employed diplomacy and advocated for an America First agenda on the global stage. Tonight, we are delighted to have Ambassador Nikki Haley with us. Please give her a warm welcome. You have a tremendous amount of support from this audience. And it's no surprise considering the name you made for yourself at the United Nations. Speaking of which, I have to say that this studio is absolutely amazing. I've told you this before, but out of all the studios I've been to, yours is the coolest. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love my friends, Glenn Beck and Dave Ramsey. They have great studios too. But there's something special about yours. It's truly awesome. Well, thank you. We believe it's the most enjoyable place to conduct an interview. I think so too. I'm thrilled to have you back. Especially because there's so much happening in the world right now. Your experience at the UN gave you a unique perspective that most of us will never have. From the crisis in Ukraine to the unfortunate situation with the withdrawal in Afghanistan last year. As you observe the global stage, what actions is America taking that are endangering our own citizens? What I discovered at the UN is that when America assumes a leadership role, the world becomes safer. The world follows our lead, admires who we are, and aspires to be like us. However, when we fail to do so, the world feels disarrayed. If we examine our foreign policy, we can reflect on the situation in Afghanistan. We abruptly departed from Bagram Air Force Base in the middle of the night, without informing our allies whom we stood beside for 2 decades, because we requested their presence. Consider the message this sent to our friends and enemies alike. Furthermore, recall the Russian hacking of our pipeline and the food processing plant. Their actions were not aimed at destabilizing us. Rather, they sought to observe our response. Unfortunately, we did nothing. Additionally, when we examine Biden's eagerness to rejoin the Iran deal, it becomes evident that Iran doesn't even allow us in the negotiation room, while Russia assumes the lead negotiator position. Ponder upon that for a moment. These circumstances send a signal to every dictator who harbors ambitions, granting them a green light. That's precisely why Putin made his move. He recognized that we would never be this weak again, allowing him to act with impunity. Now, as we witness the war in Ukraine, it's crucial to understand that this conflict extends beyond Ukraine itself. It's an assault on freedom. It's a battle we must emerge victorious in. We were promised that if Joe Biden became president, experienced individuals and responsible adults would assume control. During Donald Trump's presidency, we experienced 4 years of relative peace without initiating any wars. The Iranians hesitated to take action, and Russia refrained from invading other countries. The world stage was characterized by a different dynamic. Perhaps they didn't like Trump, but they respected him and feared the consequences of challenging him. At the United Nations, we projected a strong and resolute voice when North Korea conducted ballistic missile tests, and we sought to impose the most significant sanctions in a generation. I would assert our stance, emphasizing that certain actions were necessary. However, I couldn't guarantee the exact actions the president would take. So I would frequently communicate with him, and I would inform the president of my approach. And he would say, Make me sound crazy, make me sound crazy. As if he always wanted an element of unpredictability. We complemented each other, and it worked. The president's actions were never revealed in advance, maintaining an air of unpredictability. Our strong and assertive tone mattered. That's why the world wasn't engulfed in chaos. Countries treaded carefully around us because we weren't concerned with being liked, but we demanded respect. We had that then, but unfortunately, we lack it now. One of the moments I am most proud of you was when you boldly and passionately defended our relationship with Israel at the United Nations. While other members of the Security Council seemed ready to abandon Israel and submit to the Iranians and enemies of freedom, you stood firm. Speaking of Israel, during the previous administration, President Trump achieved the historic Abraham Accords. It was a monumental achievement. Yet the media hardly gave him the credit it deserved for such a significant accomplishment. It's essential to remind America of the immense significance of achieving the Abraham Accords. It was truly remarkable, particularly when I entered the United Nations. A challenging environment, to say the least. We always anticipated opposition, but we never knew which country we would be confronting on any given day. However, they all seemed to criticize Israel relentlessly. We made a point of calling them out on it. Let me take you to the moment when we made the courageous decision to relocate our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. It was a significant moment for the president, demonstrating our unwavering support for Israel. Now, let's address the implications of turning a blind eye to China's actions, such as unleashing a virus or disregarding the trade agreements they have supposedly signed. It poses a massive national security threat. Look at what China is doing. They have rapidly expanded their military capabilities and now possess the largest naval fleet in the world. China has surpassed us in terms of advanced air systems and air defense capabilities. They continue to engage in intellectual property theft. Yet there are no consequences for their actions. The human rights abuses committed by China are horrific. But many countries hesitate to hold them accountable due to their economic ties. What concerns me the most is President Xi's commission, which he personally chairs, mandating that any company doing business with China must cooperate with the Chinese military. This raises serious concerns about the security of our financial, healthcare, and personal data, including that of our children. President Xi has always emphasized the significance of data ownership, stating that whoever possesses the data rules the world. And we are witnessing this unfold. We must be extremely cautious of these developments. The war in Ukraine taught us the importance of taking dictators at their word. When China declared their intention to take Hong Kong, they followed through. Similarly, Russia's actions in Ukraine were in line with their statements. If China expresses their desire to take Taiwan, it is not a matter of if, but when. If Russia expresses interest in Poland and the Baltic states, we must take it seriously. China is becoming increasingly assertive, even claiming that the Taiwan Strait is not international waters and conducting flyovers with jets. Their aggression is growing, and we need a strong and prepared America that will act decisively when the time comes. I couldn't agree more, Nikki Haley.